we'll be chattering and nattering in the Garden County shed. But if a decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 863.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport.
Hello and welcome to our weekend preview on Thursday, the 18th of July. We are live in Garden County Sport headquarters, joined as usual by Emmett O'Sullivan and John Hines. Myself and Alan are here. We're going to discuss the hurling results from last weekend, the football fixtures coming up this weekend in GA, and also Dan O'Gorman is playing a game tonight, so he's not here to discuss Bray Wanderers. So just briefly, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the GA scene, Alan, Bray victorious last week?
Yeah, Bray were victorious last week, as Dan was trying to hit on that they were coming into a run of matches there that they possibly could get a few wins out of, and they did. They got away with the narrows the margins against Limerick at home. Paul Keegan slotting home a penalty in the first half after the 48th minute. Come to the end of a string of poor results. The penalty was awarded after Clyde O'Connell fouled Dylan McGlade, which resulted in the penalty. Next up is Galway United away on the 19th to the 7th, which is possibly a winnable one as well. At the moment, it's the Bray side sitting 6th place, 1 point behind Limerick, and Galway are in 9th place. So, as I say, it is a possible run of matches there now that they can try get a few results out of. Kev?
Yes, it's good. That's tomorrow night in the Airtricity League Division 1. Last weekend also we had the Leinster Puck Fada taking place on the Sugarloaf Mountain. The winner was from Offaly in the men's section, was Cathal Kiley from Offaly. He won with a fantastic, it was 22 strokes or 22 shots around the course on the Sugarloaf. He goes on to represent Leinster as champion in the All-Ireland series. There was a playoff for second place. Unfortunately, we didn't get the results sent to us afterwards. I was up there, but I had to leave, but we didn't get the results sent to us. Kiley will be playing against his brother in the All-Ireland series in the Cooley Mountains, who won it last year as All-Ireland champion. And Kiley is the Offaly hurler, scored 120 a couple of weeks ago in the Leinster Championship. So we get going here. Last weekend was hurling weekend in Wicklow. We had a couple of high-scoring games. On Friday night, Carnew defeated Kilcool 3-9 to 111 in the Intermediate Hurling Championship. Carnew, I think they got off to a great start in the first half. I think they struggled a little bit in the second half. Emmett, you were there at that one?
Yeah, if there was ever a game of two halves, I suppose this was it. In fact, I'd say after being 3-8 to 4 points down, you could probably say Kilcool went home kicking themselves at the end of this one. Carnew seemed they could do nothing wrong. They were, they look like a team probably aren't doing as much hurling as they should be on both sides. There was a lot of fiddly little mistakes. Carnew got 3 goals. Every time they seemed to hit in a long ball, they seemed to get some value out of it. It was looking like it was going to be any score at half time really, but Kilcool came out the second half. Luke Evans dropped deeper and started to run the game, and Kilcool hit 6 or 7 wides before they actually registered a score in the second half as well. So Carnew were hanging on for dear life at the end. So it's just, I think the legs with some of the Carnew lads, some of the older lads were starting to give a bit as well, and we didn't seem to have a very strong bench. So
yeah, but saying that as well, Carnew missed a good few goal chances as well, even though they did convert 3 of them, and the first one, I think Jody Byrne had the ball in his hand 3 times, and unfortunately the referee didn't cop it. Like a simple mistake when things are going so quick.
Yeah, and
then
Joe's goal from
Joe's goal. Joe's goal was dropped in from middle of the field, dropped into the back of the net. There's a few little bit of things that go again you. Yeah. And like we were singing, well, I was before I'm pulled up on it. I was singing Kilcool's praises, but we weren't aware that Ronan Kelly was getting married, and he was a big loss. He didn't start.
Oh, massive loss. And like you're looking at an inter-county hurler as well, but. I'd say Kilcool are not that worried. They're not going to be out of this championship by any manner of means, and they look like a team that haven't really started to hurl that much with their touch. As I said, the longer the game went on, their better hurlers even got better. They looked to be, their touch was coming to them. They were getting more used to the ball, and I'd say Kilcool weren't that worried
No, but I tell you one thing. I know Karen, you only they only scored 1 point in the second half, which is poor. But like when you're so far ahead, it's easy or it's hard. It's easy to slip out of the game and hard to keep your momentum going. You know, if they lose nobody off that team, they will give a fair rattle.
They might lose another one or two, which will probably really rattle them. They might lose.
But like they've a few strong players in strong positions. Like you've Joe back in the goal there with vast experience. You've Graham Keogh full back as well. Like that shores up a lot there. Like you've Paul Lobinolan, like played senior hurling as well. You've TJ Hennessy back there at full forward. Like, and if they can get him back match fit, like he's hard handled. Like we were saying, like he wasn't 100% match fit, but he still rattled off 1-4 there.
Yeah, look, as you said, as I said the other night, he was the old dog for the hard road, really, that got Carnew through this one. I just honestly still think that there's a lot more improvement in Kilcoole. I mean, I think Ronan Keddy is worth more than 4 points the other night.
Yeah.
I honestly think he's worth more than the difference between the teams. I think Carnew probably wouldn't have had as much possession in the first half. Luke Evans wouldn't have been taken out of full forward. You know, they moved their team around and it worked for him, but I just think going forward, if Ronan stays fit or whatever, and the semi-final came up between the two, I think Carnew would have their hands full with a fully fit Kilcoole team doing a bit of hurling.
And you've asked the question as well, if Ronan was there with his big gangly legs on him, who would have stayed with him?
If
he
wasn't, but look, that's, as we said, we didn't know that going down there. Yeah. You can only play what's in front of you. And look, at half time, as I said, Kilcoole looked a shadow of a hurling team, really. You know, but the second half said different. When they came into it, they played all the hurling second half. And, you know, I think Carnew were looking at the clock from about 10 minutes out to see how long was left. It was one of those, you know.
The other game in the Intermediate Championship last game was the Rocks 4-13, Glenealy 1-6. Goals galore, and that one ended as well.
Yeah, goals galore. It was a funny sort of a game. It ended up a niggly type game. I think there was Glenealy had 2 off and the Rocks had 1 sent off. You know, to be honest, the Rocks were by far the better team. Glenealy suffered another couple of losses on Monday night to the seniors, and you know, they looked like a team that were, you know, suffering a bit from it, like, to be fair to them. But as Glenealy do, they stayed competitive for as long as they could. But coming to half time, I think it was 1-6 to 2 points, and the Rocks had hit 7 or 8 wides as well on top of that, and the game just got a little bit niggly on both sides. Now there was nothing major in it, but it was just little niggly things that, you know.
And did I hear, did they lose TJ Byrne early in the game?
Yeah, TJ went off injured as well, so like he'd be a big loss as well. So TJ wasn't there last year either, you know what I mean? So look, it was just one of those games. The Rocks were the better team. Glenealy are struggling for numbers. You know, fair play to them. They're still putting out their teams. They came there Tuesday night, but look, it was just a battle for them on the night, and the Rocks were too strong, and that was.
Like you hit there last week saying about Rathnew, who could put out a team one night after another with senior championship and intermediate championship in football, and then Glenealy went and done it in the same thing, you know. Fair play to them, like. And
that's evidence of what lads they have in the field up there as well. So that you have to give them kudos on that. So.
Yeah, depending on the weekend itself, and on Sunday and Monday there was 3 games in the Senior Hurling Championship. The first of which, Bray 4-15, Avondale 1-8. Big win there for Bray. We've been singing their praises sort of since we started this, and
we have been singing their praises, all right, but like and unfortunately to Avondale, like they're getting their team out, they're performing as well as they can, you know, they're competing, but like Bray laid down a big marker again, you know, they did.
Bray without John Henderson and the 2 McCormicks as well, like, so you know, you're looking at the strength and depth they have as well. You know, that could have been a sticky one for them, maybe, you know, taking the eye off the ball a bit, but they never took their eye off the ball. They look to be moving very well. You know, Avondale, look, they're struggling for numbers again. Like Seamus McGrainer, full forward, scores a goal at 52 years of age. You have to give it to the man, and just on that note, everyone knows I was in Avondale for a couple of years, and I just wish everyone in every club at 22 had the enthusiasm of that man, because he's unbelievable. He's there, he's in the field, he'll never let you down. He's an unbelievable man, you know. But that's not to take away from Bray's performance here. It's another big marker. They've won at their ease, and
they're sitting comfortably at the top of the pile there anyway.
And they're looking good at the minute, so.
Yeah, like Dave 8 points now, Carnew on 6, and Pat's on 4. Glenealy have 4 points with a game in hand. Then we have the rest. Erogan 2 points, then Kiltegan and Avondale both on not yet to register a point in the senior championship so far. One of those teams you just mentioned, Kiltegan, they ran Pats very close on Sunday in Ockram. It was 18 to 16 points. Pats got off to a goal within, I think it was 9 seconds. The ball hit the back of the net from Andy O'Brien.
I think it was between 9 and 13 anyway.
I think it was 9. I was looking at the video after 9 seconds
Yeah.
into the game, and Andy catches the long ball in and fires to the back of the net. He accounted for 214 of the tally on the day, 11 frees out of that. He's hard to handle.
He was absolutely on fire, is the only word you can say for it now. Anton that went home, no matter where he got one of the balls out underneath the stand. He just picked it up, turned straight over the bar, and hit the top of the crossbar and just went over. But an absolute peach of a score. But like, in saying that, Kiltegan put in a serious effort in the first half. They were missing Shawnee Germain and they were missing Ronan Byrne. That's just to mention two. You know,
Scored 16 points.
Yeah, they scored 16 points. Like, they were absolutely motoring. Owen Byrne, sorry,
he took the mantle.
He did. He really did. He took the game to him, and I thought the move of the game in the first half, they brought him into the full forward line, and they couldn't handle him. And he fired over a few lovely scores, a few dead balls as well. But in the second half, I'll have to say, the old word that comes out is they didn't come out of the dressing room.
Yeah,
they didn't at all.
Now, in saying that, Mark Murphy, he had an effort at goal saved by Owen O'Mahony very early in the second half. That might have put a different perspective into the game itself. But in fairness to Pats, they kept plugging away, and Andy O'Brien popped up with a late goal. I think he had 57 minute. He popped up to score his second, almost a carbon copy of the first goal, and that really put the game to bed, Alan.
Yeah. He was. I say he was on song now. It was a good game of hurling now.
And Andy is having a day like that. He's just unplayable. You know, I've seen him before. He's unbelievable. Like, it just
you could even see the way he was talking to lads around the field. He was on song. You know, he was loving it. Loving it.
Yeah.
It's like he has the ball on a string and he's doing that sometimes, and it's just, you know, it's just the mark of the man, really. He can take a game like that and turn it into a procession of himself almost. So,
and he's a great pair of hands on him as well. Like, he's just able to catch.
But his power as well.
Yeah. The Monday night, probably the headline game of the weekend. Carnew 2-11, Glenealy 2-12. A late goal from Gary Hughes turned the game there for Glenealy. I think it was in the 60th minute of play. Emmett, Carnew, as Alan sort of mentioned about Kiltegan, didn't come out of the dressing room second half, or.
Look, they got off to a great start. I said here the other night if Carnew could get goals, but Glenealy's goal threat was the problem. It turned out Carnew could get goals and Glenealy's goal threat was still the problem. So Carnew went 7 points up in this match. I think dropped 5 balls in on top of the keeper in the second half. You know, you can't just do that when you're in tight games, when you're under pressure. You can't do that. I mean, you have to kick on, and like, you were never going to hold out against the Glenealy team like that for 30 minutes. Your mantra coming out in the second half had to be, we're 7 up, we'll try and get 10 up, we'll try and get 12 up. You know, it doesn't always work like that. But look, the undoing again for Carnew, and it must be sitting uneasy with James Hickey and his selectors that the high ball in on the full back line again was that it undone Carnew in the county final in October. It was the undoing again the other night, and you know, after Monday night, you know, it's typical sport. A week ago we were talking about Carnew coming from 6 points down against Dunard from nowhere to win a match. Now Glenealy have come from 7 down a week later. You know, that's how sports treat you. It's how Carnew bounce back from it. But I just think Glenealy will improve from here on. They're not going to be any worse. You know, Warren Kavanagh came on a sub.
That was a massive boost to them.
Yeah, massive boost to them as well. And I just think Carnew have a massive amount of work to do at both ends of the field. I just think we're not clinical enough, and we're just not defending well enough. And that's, if people think I'm being harsh, I'm just giving my opinion, and that's it.
Well, you can only say what you see, like,
yeah,
you know.
and the same things for me are still raising their head there, and we just have to, if we're going to be thereabouts, you just have to sort them out.
Like, we hit on Bray, the way they were scoring from play, and they still are, you know, and they proved again there at the weekend. But like, and you hit on that Carnew need to get goals, and we were saying the Henda Donohoe, if he gets hurt, they're in trouble. But they went and got goals, but who got them? Henda Donohoe.
So
you know,
yeah. And the same, look, as I said, that would have been a massive win for Carnew going forward. It would have put them straight into a semi-final. But even if they beat Bray now, they probably won't be on score difference. So, by the looks of things.
Yeah, Glenealy still have a game.
Because everyone will have won. The top 3 will have beaten one another. and it'll come down to score difference, and Carnew's score difference just won't be good enough. So,
Yeah.
look, it's not the result they wanted, but you can take pluses. They went 7 points up. They had Glenealy in all sorts of trouble, but they just didn't finish it out. I think, we need to strengthen the panel a little bit. Where they're going to get him, I don't know, but we just...
I suppose if you look at the intermediate team, Brendan McRae's a serious threat in that team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're probably going to lose one or two more as well, and they'll have to get them lads in with a dual club again. Now it's not going to be easy to get them out to hurling into those lads that they want. But having said that, you have to give Glenealy credit. They're champions for the last 2 years for a reason. They were dead and buried in that match. They could have turned around and said, it's only the league. They came back all guns blazing. Time was up. They still didn't give up, and the ball was buried in the back of the net, and that's why they're champions, and that's what Carnew and Bray and these teams have to get
that's
over.
all the trying stuff, isn't it?
It is, but you look at sport, you have to take it, and it's how you come back from that.
Well, it's great for us, the lads in the middle there having a look at it, but lads in the field, obviously.
It wasn't great for me.
Well, obviously, it's gut-wrenching,
Yeah, but but it's how you come back from that. You can scratch your head and say, it happened, but you have to take what happened out of it and come back stronger the next time, and that's what it's about. That's what the game's about.
So that's sort of covered the hurling. There's no hurling fixtures next weekend. I think it's 2 weeks now, Alan.
Next 2, we've all football now coming this weekend and back to the hurling then the following week.
Yeah, so we'll part it. We're going to take a quick advert here, but just before we do, we just want to mention our competition. We have a free €10 bet at 7-2 from Winners Enclosure. We have Tinnahealy to beat Newtown on Saturday. St. Pat's, they are playing Bray. St. Pat's to beat Bray on Sunday, and Rathnew to beat AGB on Sunday. All to win at 7-2. You just text your name to 087 193 4382. That's 087 193 4382 for that free €10 bet from Winners Enclosure. We're just going to play a quick ad break. We'll be back to you in a minute.
We'll be chattering and nattering in the garden county shed, but if the decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 863.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport. We'll be chattering and nattering in the garden county shed, but if the decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 863.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport.
So welcome back. Just to remind you there, that competition, send in your name to 087 193 4382. So just send in your name and you could win that bet from Winners Enclosure. So we'll move on now to the big ball for the weekend. We have our second round of fixtures in the Senior Football Championship. The first game of the weekend, I suppose we'll focus on Group 1 first. The first game is Newtown versus Tinnahealy. The previous fixtures, Tinnahealy bet Hollywood 211 to 18, and Newtown were defeated by Rathnew 290 to 213. Lads, this game is a sort of a battle for one of the places to get through the group, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for sure. You've obviously got two teams on either side of the coin. Tinnahealy coming off a win, Newtown coming off a loss. I know down in Newtown they're disappointed with the loss to Rathnew. And probably had times in that game where they thought they had it, and not unlike the discussion about Glenealy, you have nothing won after 45 minutes, But if they don't build on that, as we talked about matches a couple of weeks ago, it's not going to matter a whole lot to them, because 2 games in, 0 points is going to be, you're now looking at a hill, round 2 gone, 3 to go. Tinnahealy, look, we talked about it. They played out against Hollywood, kind of a tentative start to the group, but got a good win in the end, missing a couple of players, some high profile players, and they're back this week as far as we know. So look, the form book says Tinnahealy, and I suppose our bet for the week has Tinnahealy down for it. I kind of tipped Newtown to beat Rathnew. I have a funny feeling they're going to build on it. I think they're going to give Tinnahealy plenty of it on Saturday, and it's going to be, it'll be all out. It'll be a 50-50 game, and I wouldn't be so quick to rule Newtown out of it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think John has hit the nail on the head with this one. I think it's going to be a very tight match, actually. I think it's going to end up a very tight game. It'll just be a battle. I think Newtown, they know how to battle as well. You know what I mean? They've been in the relegation a couple of years. They don't want to be in it again. They know how to battle their way out of it. And I think they will give Tinnahealy lots of it. I think Tinnahealy are going to have to hit the ground running in this one. They seem to be on a slow burner a little bit against Hollywood and built up and got there eventually. I think it'll be very, very tight, but I think maybe young legs just in the end might get Tinnahealy over the line on my side of it. But I do think Newtown are going to give them a real battle of it, you know.
I think it's going to be a really interesting tactical battle as well. Like, I mean, you know, Tinnahealy well known with Alan Costello on the sideline, a real tactical masterclass from him over the last few years in the county. But you know, Newtown have a system. Like, when they're not going out 15 on 15, and you know, we've seen it this year in a lot of the league games. So it's going to be an interesting battle. Like, I mean, you've got some really nippy forwards on both sides against some kind of more, what would you say, some more seasoned backlines. It's going to be a tight tactical battle, and I might just give Newtown the edge maybe to turn the form book on its head.
In saying that, you just mentioned there the nippy forwards in the teams, like who's going to, Ross Davis probably one of the quickest in the county.
He's probably the most informed forward in the county in the league campaign. If you go by your scoring ratio, he is absolutely flying along now. A lot of him for dead balls, but it doesn't matter. You're scoring him. But like, he on his day as well, I know we keep saying this, he's unmarkable, and he is. Now the last couple of games, he's dipped slightly in form regards to scoring from play. Like at Newmatch, they held him scoreless from play in the second half.
He's the marked man.
He's the mark, but that's it. Unfortunately, like, there's a red flag on him going out straight away.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, there's a big red flag going out on Owen Darcy. This is his first big boys. Welcome to Big Boys Club now. You know, he missed the first one. Owen Byrne, he has got his run out, you know, and he can only improve. But all flags are going to be, and sirens are going to be on young Owen Darcy to see how he can improve. And there's a lot of pressure put on that chap.
There is, and I went to see his first league game, and I felt there was a bit of that about it. But actually, in this, I don't think this will knock a bar out of him. Like, he's played this in Ockram, isn't it? Yeah. So they're playing it in Ockram. You know, it's almost a home pitch to him. It's a big day. Like, I mean, this, as we said, Ross Davis is having a massive year this year. Like, I mean, but you talk about, you know, senior championship football, this is when it should be played, right? It's the end of July, the ground's rock hard. Like, so you talk about guys that had good league campaigns, right? And in the wet and the slop, like, this is when they're going to excel. Sometimes it's a little bit of imbalanced. If you end up with a senior final or an intermediate final, you're back heading into wet ground or whatever. This is it. This is where Owen Darcy should be absolutely unmarkable, and I think he will be. I think he'll excel here. I don't think it's gonna phase him one little bit.
I actually don't think.
Equally, Ross Davis, I think Tinnahealy are going to have to do one serious job to keep that boy off the ball.
I don't think, no disrespect to Newtown, but if he's on song, they'll have no one to mark him. If that, and plus, if Tinnahealy can get the right ball to him,
absolutely.
But the right ball to him could be. Contradict myself. It could be anything. He is so mad. He's not that big of a chap. He has a spring on him. Like, he'll get up with his 6-footer, no bother whatsoever. He'll turn you inside out, and like on the turn of a hat, he'll have 2 or 3 goals like that. You know.
But in saying that, you talk about the ball, Jason Cush, I suppose, he's probably one of the best playmakers, if you want to call him that, playmaker on the ball. He's going to let in serious ball into Darcy.
Well, I'm going to make a ball prediction here now. I'm not around for the weekend, and it's killing me. I'm not going to even get to see it, but I'm going to say, with the few that Tinnahealy have back, it's going to free up one man. I don't know where they're going to play him, which will be Paddy O'Rourke. They played him corner forward the last day. He was a little bit off form. Now he's set up a good few scores. I'm going to put him down for man of the match. Now, there's a ball prediction.
Yeah, no, look, it is.
Yeah.
without predicting the winner.
I didn't even know he did that.
Yeah, so look, now there's one for a new one anyway. But look, I just think if, as we said, the young legs in Ockram as well, if they can keep to their game plan, and it wore down Hollywood as well, to be fair to Tinnahealy, you know, and when everything wasn't going right for them, I think they showed character as well. But as you said, Newtown don't want to be going into the third round of this either with 2 losses. So, you know, and you'd almost feel that Newtown would have rather have played Tinnahealy and Ashford and Rathnew and Ockram. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
there could be a misperception there as well. Like, I mean, Newtown are not as old a team as we seem to be thinking. Like, I mean, you know, obviously Paul O'Riordan's the exception, but you know, I challenge most of the midfielders in this county to run around after Paul O'Riordan. You know, Kevin Fitzsimmons coming off. You know, he might be
Mark Fitzsimmons. Yeah.
Or Mark Fitzsimmons. Sorry, you know, obviously probably in that 30 zone, but he's coming off a year of county football.
Yeah.
You know, Shane Mooney, you know, one of the absolute, you know, one of a great story this year. Like how many lads come into a senior, you know, you get lads going on to senior panel for the first time. They're nailed down centre back.
Exactly.
You know, Jesus, that, you know, so, and they're the guys that might be in the upper end of the age profile for Newtown. The 4 forwards there, you know, between there's 21, 22 years old. It's not an old Newtown team.
No.
Yeah. I suppose on to the next game, that group we just touched on, Tilly and Hollywood. Hollywood are playing Kiltegan. Kiltegan sort of resoundingly beaten in the end by the Gers the last day out. It's going to be a close game, I'd say, is it?
Yeah. I think this will be a nail biter. Now, I think anything could happen in this. There's been a little bit of bad blood with him over the last few years, and it's just it's going to be a good game, tight game. As I said, keep Shawnee scoreless. Not going to be possible, you know.
Well, where I'd be looking at, you know, I think if after seeing Hollywood against Tinnahealy, they set up defensively or whatever. You know, they held them for long periods of the game. They stayed in the game for a long time against Tinnahealy, against all odds almost, you know. But I just think if Kiltegan repeat the 3-9 they got against Arklow Gers, I think they're going to touch. I don't see where the Hollywood team that played against Tinnahealy will get 3-10 from to beat him. I just think if they can get that high diagonal ball into Shawnee's on his day, if they can put up anything like 2-9, 3-9, I think Kiltegan are going to be very hard to beat in this one.
Well, no disrespect to the lad who was marking him in the Airlines match, but Harry Wilson, I'm presuming, is going to take him now, and like that can be a ding-dong battle.
Like I'm just going back a few years here, going back, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, maybe longer. I think Shawnee Ferran scored 16 points against Hollywood in a senior championship game in Boston last one day. Now, I'm open to correction there if anyone wants to get in touch with us. I'm very open to correction, but like, on his day and against, I suppose, a Western rival, he's going to be untouchable, I think. Yeah,
but like we're hitting on this again about Hollywood. They're just still lacking one potent striker.
They need something up there. They do. They need something to let willing boy lads fighting it out all over the field. But obviously, from 1 out to 9, they've got real willing lads there. You know, we talked about them 2 weeks ago. It is just that, you know, like they just need an outlet up there, you know, to convert, keep the scoreboard ticking, using all the old cliches. Like, I mean, there'll be some ding dong battles in that, you know. But I'd say, you know, the kind of Finn and Podge Tool, that kind of access in midfield, it's going to be hard handled, I think, you know, and obviously the Shawnee factor up front. Yeah, but look, it's two teams absolutely fighting hell for leather again. It's two, you know, they both lost the last day out. But hard one to call, really hard one to call. But
I'm going to call Hollywood on this one.
For man of the match now, or for actual for winner, is it?
I'm just going to go to winner on this
fair
one.
play to you after backing the winner there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go Kiltegan on this one. As I said, I think if they can repeat the trick of 3-9, I just can't see Hollywood scoring enough to get them there. I think if they get anywhere near that, I think they'll have enough in the locker to get over the line.
Okay.
So
I'll go with that.
So 2 for Kiltegan, 1 for Hollywood here.
Wouldn't be like you to go again, mate.
You're just.
I'd go Kiltegan.
You're arbitrator, right?
I'm arbitrator, but I would go for Kiltegan this one. I think that they might have one eye on the future fixtures with Newtown and Tinnahealy, and they might be fancying their chances there. So a win here would really set it up nicely. The third game of that group is on Sunday. The Gers are playing Rathnew. Arklow said 3-18 to 3-9 winners against Kiltegan in the opening round. Rathnew 4-point winners over Newtown, 2-13 to 2-9. The last day out, we seen the Gers lost 2 big players to injury.
They did. Now, we kind of know, well, we're presuming that Hyland was fairly bad going off with his hamstring. Now, Darragh Fitzgerald was the only precaution, we don't know. First ball he got, minute on the clock, back in the net. Straight after that, he was gone. So, did he just twinge something? Knew there was maybe a more important game coming up? Or did he think they were going to win this one reasonably comfortably? You know, like, I say, we're only trashing out here. We don't know how managers work on the line because we're not there, obviously. But I think Darragh was precaution, and I'm going to say Hyland, I think he's out.
Yeah, I'd probably look if it's a precaution.
But this is a massive game.
If you miss a month at this time of the year, like, you're in big trouble. You know what I mean? And no matter what sort of a player you are.
And don't forget, they're missing a man off, got sent off. the last day as well.
Oh yeah.
So they're down a man on a red card. I just think that if they're going to lay down a marker this year, so that has to be the day. That has to be their day to say we're here, we're ready to take the mantle. I mean, we all know what Rathnew offer. I think we've spoke about here over the last couple of weeks. You know, leaders are plenty. You know, lads that can talk the talk and walk the walk all over the field. But I just think if the Gers are going to come and say, you know, we're going to be here for a while, I think Sunday has to be their big day and they have to put down their marker. And, you know, they just have to step up and say, we're able for this.
Like we all know what happened last year, they made in the semi-final. 15 points to 111 back in the 28th of August or September. Like Geraldines in the first, I think in total they kicked 15 wides. In the first half, I think, if I'm right in saying this, they kicked 12.
I think that 8 wides after 12 or 13 minutes.
Yeah, you know, and in the game before that, they started the very same against Kiltegan and they absolutely blew them out of the water. I think it's young Kieran O'Shea, is it? Or one of the O'Shea's anyway. Could be Cormac. Yeah, I think he was absolutely on fire that day from dead balls and from play, and it just didn't work for him again. Rathnew, was it nerves? We don't know. Possibly with a lot of the youth in the team.
Sunday is the day to get over nerves in my book, and that's what I'm saying, because while there's a lot at stake on Sunday, it's not to be all and end all. And if you're going to be if you're going to build up to bigger things where the nerves are going to rattle you, Sunday's the day to prove that you're able for the occasion.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, I mean, if either of these teams, we know they both have aspirations to win it, but they're going to have to play each other again. This potentially is a semi-final or a final in waiting. Like, you know, so yeah, I'd say AGB probably have to shake off that question about them that they bottled it or tanked it last year, you know, with nerves or whatever it was. Rathnew are just going to, they'll sit, they'll wait, they'll see what happens. That's what they do all the time. They'll watch Arklow line out. They'll have it in their head what's going to happen and what the scenarios are and how they're going to deal. They'll just stay there and they'll say, you know, and as we all know, and we've said it again, and I made the horrible error of backing against them a couple of weeks ago. Like, I mean, if you want to beat them, you have to beat them in the 66th minute. That's where you know, you've got to be there till the absolute end. So look, hard one to call. Like, I mean, you know, I think maybe.
Well, I think Arklow actually, they're missing Stephen Hurley, so he was out the
last
day
as well. I think he's out again.
So they're like midfield battle, you know, Stafford and Theo Smith maybe. Like, there's hard to beat that.
Stephen Hurley marked Stafford in that semi-final last year. Like, I mean, you know, not the biggest man on the pitch, but was, you know, well able for that job. You know,
yeah,
huge loss off them. Like Stephen Hurley and kind of Philip Gleeson, those couple of lads, and Butcher, they've been there all through the leaner times with Arklow, but still well able to contribute with all the young lads around them and keep the ship steady. So maybe the likes of Highland and Hurley off, you know, on a big day, you know, might.
I suppose, and just another one, Philip Healy scored 1-5 the last day.
That's what I was just coming to. That, like, if they can get the right ball to him, he's lethal as well. And like, even though the Geraldines were winning well, I think he got the last goal. You swear it was the first minute of the game with the way he finished it, buried it, and turned around and he celebrated. You know, even though they were so far ahead, it didn't matter to him. It was just the enjoyment and of winning it. Like, so, like, the passion is really, really there with that man.
Yeah. So that's the group one. Before we see them to group two, predictions on that game.
AGB and Rathnew.
Yeah.
I think Stafford will be the man of the match anyway. Over to you, Sully.
Well, look, as I said, I know they're probably going to be missing a few, but I think if Sunday's to be, if they're to lay down a serious marker going forward, I think Arklow Gers have to win Sunday, to be honest. I know backing against Rathnew hasn't made too many people well off in the last few years, but I'm just going to say that if the Gers are to step up to the plate, Sunday should be their day, to be honest.
I'll go again, yes, anyway, lads. I'm going to go with the Village to win by 2 points.
What colour is the referee going to be? You going to make a prediction on that?
No, I'll let him whatever he wants to wear. I'm not going to put pressure on him.
So over to group two on I think Saturday night we have. Well, I'm putting it down after Rathnew and the Jerseys up there won the games of the weekend. We have Blessington and Baltinglass. Blessington defeated Bray 3-11 to 2-11 the last night, and Baltinglass were defeated by Avondale 2-10 to 4-13. It's mouthwatering clash.
Yeah, this is a massive game in the group, massive game for Baltinglass. Look at their defeat the last day, and the manner of their defeat, I think, took everyone by surprise, you know. There's probably been a bit of soul searching up there over the last 2 weeks, but there'll have to be a bit of a thought in Blessington that it's a serious opportunity as well to to put a nail in the coffin, as it were. Baltinglass still have Pats to play, so this is a massive game within this group. I think you will get a kickback from Baltinglass. I think you have to, but I think going on what we said about Baltinglass the last day, I was thinking back, and I think maybe I overthought Baltinglass a little bit. They topped the league, which is fair enough, but they had only one player involved in county teams all through that league when everyone else were stripped of a good few lads. I think everyone has improved since and took a step forward. I think this time last year, or a little bit later maybe, Baltinglass had to depend on other results to go through out of the group as well. So this is not our first struggle in the group stages. And I just think if Blessington, again, it's a bit like the Gers thing, I think if Blessington have anything about them and have any aspirations here, they have to take this by the scruff of the neck and say, I honestly expect Baltinglass to come out. They'll have John McGrath back, I'm sure. He wasn't there the last night. Well, I think there'll be a kickback out of him. But as I said, if Blessington have any aspirations of going on here, they have to take this chance of putting Baltinglass under serious pressure.
Well, so go on there, John. Yeah.
Well, no, I'd agree. Like, you look at the league table there now, and conceivably, over the course of this weekend, you have the top three playing the second three or the bottom three, whatever you want. So you have 3 to 1 playing 3 that lost, right? So conceivably, after this weekend, you have the top 3 on 4, right? And that's obviously, as I say, conceivably, I'm not predicting the 3 games, but that group takes huge shape then. And as Sully says, we said it here last week, 2 weeks ago, after the Baltinglass defeat. Like, I mean, you've got to look at that now and say, I don't want to see sight nor sound of Baltinglass again, not at the business end of the season, right? And you want your 2 points, and you want to win and keep going in the group and try and get to the top and avoid a quarter final and all that. But Blessington, we've always, in private and publicly, maybe queried their absolute, their ruthlessness, their ability to, and it's coming early this year, right? This is an early one for them, right? Baltinglass, a wounded Baltinglass, looking to struggle back here, get them, clamber themselves back into contention, and Blessington now have to be ruthless, absolutely ruthless, go for the juggler and beat them convincingly. And can they do it? They've got the artillery, they've got the players, they've always had that. It's just now mentality. Can they go out there next Saturday evening and put them away?
And just another thing as well, just to throw something else in on that 9-point defeat to Avondale also puts Baltinglass under serious pressure, because 9 points is a big gap for anyone else to make up. That's a serious gap. I don't think there's many of these games going to end up in this group with 9-point differences, the way teams are setting up and stuff. And I think that's a big thing. Like, if Baltinglass get a run here on Blessington, they'll be looking to cut back that deficit as well. So you'll have to take, Baltinglass really have to go for this. Baltinglass can't sit back and try and let this game develop. I think they have to come out and they have to just go hell for leather and try and win by as much as they can as well. I think it's going to be a humdinger.
Well, this is as close to knockout as you get now for Baltinglass. Because, like you say, you have 2 defeats, you've still Pats to play. But Baltinglass and Blessington met last year in round 4, and Baltinglass 16 points to 1-6 at Blessington, and they were waiting on other results. Like, that put Blessington out last year, But they've met already this year in the leagues, and tempers flared up in Blessington, and there was a bit of oil spilled, as a lad says, up there, and a few fisticuffs, and there's still a bit of ill feeling towards each other up there. So I think, like, John Keenan's the man in the middle here. This is possibly like the Wild West going to be, bring your 6 show.
Yeah,
this is going to be a...
you have 2 great men, and you've Mick Murray as a serious motivator on the line there. You've Sean O'Brien at the other side. This has all the hallmarks of being one of the games of the year.
I think it is, yeah.
And so early in the year, as we alluded to. But it's just, what more can you say about it, really? It's a powder keg, and just lie it and let it go.
I'd be really interested to see how Baltinglass line out. Like, maybe we probably had a bit of a chat about it the last time.
They're missing John McGrath last night.
They're missing John McGrath, so is he back? Obviously he starts if he's back. One of the guys I probably looked at over the last few years, and I think he, and again I don't know the answer, so it's bad research on my behalf, but maybe what was lacking a bit, like Jason Kennedy has been hugely, he's a bit of an unsung hero, a hugely industrious player for
workhorse.
Absolute workhorse. Like, I played against him a couple of times, and it's box to box, bit unsung, might throw in a point here and there, but
he must have skinned you.
What's that?
He must have skinned you, John, if you're singing him up there.
I'm more of a box midfielder as opposed to box.
Oh, yeah. You'll make your own box.
Yeah, I'll make my own box. Nice later.
Between the 265s.
but look, like I mean,
Snack box.
Like he's possibly it was possibly that sort of thing that was missing a wee bit the last day. As I say, I'm not sure if he's fit or available or why he wasn't named in the subs. I noticed that, but it'd be interesting to see what Ballinakill do. As we said, you know, they didn't start certain players last day that came on: Ian Sheeran, Murphy, Keane Lee in midfield. It'd be interesting to see how they start this day out and what by the line out and what the effect has been over the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose like we were talking about the goals that Avondale got the last day. No tackles were no hands was laid on.
As you said before, no hand was letting them.
No, and that's not like a team which from Sean O'Brien's ilk either. You know what I mean? It just looked like they were completely caught cold. They were caught flat. Like, you know, for no one to throw a shoulder in or even pull someone down, take a black card, stop the rot, as the lads say. No one done it. Like, and I just can't see that happening with Ballinakill again. Like, you know, well, they can't let it happen. That's the pure and simple about it, and that's where they are. Like
as you said, like I'd say what's going on behind closed doors up there the last, like we don't want to keep harping on about Ballinakill here either, like baiting them down, but like I'd say like he got them into that field up there and
well, as I said,
wasn't nothing short of whipping them around, I'd say.
He's found out what he has up there in the last 2 weeks. You know, he's found out what character he has up there, and I think we'll see it on Saturday.
Yep.
So one of the other games on this group is on Sunday in Ashford. The Aero Greystones play Avondale. Aero were defeated by 5 points against Belize. Dean Healy goal in the opener against Pats, while Avondale, as we just mentioned, gave Ballinakill a lesson in football. This one, as you said, you were just talking about recently, Alan. This one has another promise of a good game.
There is, yeah. I was at this one last year as well, and I think you'll remember as well, Emmett. There was a bit of a dust up in her.
Yeah, but the last couple of years these two teams have played, there's been very little more than a point either way any day. It's been real war of attrition with the two of them. You know, they're almost one another's nemesis at this stage. There's been very little in these games. I think the way Airog set up against Pats was very defensive. They went out to stop Pats basically. I think they brought back 3 men behind the ball for long periods of the game. They only scored a point from play, but like they were bang there with 10 minutes to go. I think Ashford, if they play like that, if they halt Avondale's run up in Ashford, this game will be very tight and be very nervous going into the last few minutes. You know, whoever's free takers on either team could decide this match.
It could, yeah. Airog was talking to a lad from Airog the other night there. Now, last night actually, they were hampered with a good few injuries. Like their bench was depleted. You know,
I think they named 21.
They had even Anto Byrne was only back for bad reasons, obviously, as we know. You know, and like he went and tugged out. You know, and they had to bring him on, and Billy Cuddy.
Like even last year, just you're saying, you showed me there Avondale 2-10, Airog 9 points. That doesn't tell the full extent of the game either. I think. Just before half time, Avondale banged in 2 goals on a dirty wet night in Arklow.
Yeah.
And I think just before that, Airog had kicked 5 or 6 wides, one after the other as well. Like they could have been further in front, and the 2 goals were 2 sucker punches.
It was completely against the run of play.
Yeah, completely against the run of play, and like it was a 7-point victory. It probably was a point or 2 victory that night as well. Really, if you boil down everything. But look, as I said, I think if Airog go defensive again, they're going to hold these lads. If they stop the runners, if they hold it, and it's going to come down to who can kick those frees from 30, 35 yards.
Well, I think they're going to have to go defensive, because if you let Avondale run at you again, they're going to have to try with their half back line. They're going to have to try put up some class of a shield there to stop them getting by you, and then try counter attack.
That's why it's a massive game for Avondale. As I said, if Avondale don't win this game for whatever reason, Ballinakill will be forgot about very quick. Yeah. You know, they have to go now and put these 2 victories back to back. Airog have to, you know, they have to be Airog to justify beating Ballinakill. And I know that's a mouthful to say, but I think that's what they need to do to just step up to say, right, we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Avondale are our new best friends now. Like, I mean, we've talked them up after the last day, but look, rightly so. They were fabulous and all of that. But like, yeah, we're 2 weeks down the line. There's been a lot of water under the bridge. Then, do you know, like, I mean, Avondale and Airog, like Sully said, they've kind of been in each other's face for last year for a number of years, for a long time. But equally this year, they played, 2 league games. You know, so they've had a good look at each other, and Airog have probably had a better of a look at Avondale this year than maybe Balto had, 2 weeks ago. So, like, I mean, look at, as you say, they set up defensively the last day. Everybody's going to set up defensively against Avondale now. Like, that's a given now. Right?
Well, even saying that, it's going to suit to set up defensively, playing Ash forward is a tight field, it will suit you. Like if you, because you won't have as much room to run, spread it wide, like the Conor Byrne and all, it won't be able to ping up and down the sidelines as they have because it'd be too tight, you know. And I think it might just suit the likes of Avondale and try catch them. It depends on who they have fit. I think Sean Lawless is gone, is he? He went off with ligament damage last day. He's Sean Lawless, isn't it? It's a big loss to them, like, you know.
Corner forward.
Yeah.
Like these two teams, again going back in the room, I think they met in the Junior A final in 2003, and they served up crackers then. I think it went to replay as well then. But hopefully we get treated to another classic on Sunday in Ashford. But the other game in Ockram in this group is St. Pat's against Bray Emmets. Pats were, as you mentioned, Betero 2-11 to 1-9, and Bray narrowly lost to Blessington 2-11 to 3-11 thanks to a Jordan Nolan goal midway through the second half that day. This one, how do you reckon Bray are going to treat this one? Like, how are they going to set up against this Pats team?
I'd say, look, John Henderson didn't play at the weekend in the hurling, possibly with looking to playing in this match. A lot will depend on John's fitness. I think the way Bray set up, he's key to what to do. I think Bray scored 2-11 against Blessington. They're not going to be overly fearful either. Like, they can say, well, we can have a go at these because we can get scores. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, Pats probably got their fright in the last round. They huffed and puffed a bit and got over the line in the end. I think Bray will bring it, but I think Pats will probably have enough to them. And just on that now, and going offline a small bit, that match is at 7:15 Sunday evening. Your county champions and one of the most populated areas and it's on at set, and we wonder why we haven't got crowds at matches. Like, you've the Gers retinue at 5 and this match is at 7:15, and I think, you know, I don't know what the reason is, to be honest with you, but if you're going to get anyone in Ockram to watch that, like, you have to give them prime time.
Well, if you just look at the fixtures in Ockram on Sunday, we go off.
I know there's 2 early, then there's a break, and there's 2 later on, isn't there?
Yeah, 11:30 and 1, and then there's a gap till 5. Like,
What is we talked about that 2 weeks ago. What is that gap about?
I actually don't know. I have to inquire about it. It's one thing that got by.
I think they're missing.
Is it for lads to go watch the matches on the telly somewhere, or is it?
There's some sort of thinking like that. I think it needs to be rethought. Like, I mean, it's hugely antisocial. Like, I mean, if we're trying to sell 4 games in Ockram, like, I mean, you know, there's only certain people that can go up and watch them from 11 o'clock to 7. You know, they've got to be a little bit tighter packed together. To, you know, if you want to watch 3 games, but that gap in the middle, I'd love to know what it is. Maybe there is a good reason for it, and we're missing it. And, you know, someone can inform us. We all go, okay, fair enough. But I just don't see the reason for it.
But that's twice now. Pat's your county champions. Like, they're the big draw of the year at the minute. They're your county champions, and that's twice they've been fixed to play at 7:15 on Sunday evenings.
Yeah, it's
like,
a graveyard shift.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you're not going to get the crowd. Like, Pat's are.
That's not peak. That's peaked by a computer system. Just to let you know, that's not hand peaked. You know what I mean? That goes into a whole big washing machine there, and that's the way they come out.
You mean the clubs are computer picked? That the clubs are the fixtures random.
The fixtures,
but the timing is just what has to be looked.
Yeah, but like, if I know, I will look into it for Monday night. Now I will have an answer for that. But like, if you want to go and watch matches, you're not going to sit in Ockram for 4 matches on the trot. I'm not going to say people want to watch 4 matches on the trot.
But you're not going to leave and come back.
The only people that could leave and come back are the ones that live within a 10-mile radius of Ockram, or ones that are going to bring a picnic or plan that 4 hours in the middle. But that's it's unreasonable to think that people are going to actually, you know, are going to work that out.
Well, I think the main game in the or the Super Race this weekend, I think, is on at 4 o'clock. So you're only going to miss it, or you're going to see the first half before you go back to Ockram. Like, so it doesn't make sense if it's done for television reasons.
Well, that's one thing I have on my to-do list, boys. I'll be back here now Monday night.
No, I just think it's strange, and I think twice now Pats have been fixed there, and they're the big draw for this year. You know, they're county champions. Pats is a hugely populated area with a big following. Last match was against Airog, another hugely populated area, who should have. They mightn't have as big a following, but
northeast or east clubs.
And there's Bray. Like, there's not many people going to come and play at 7:15 and watch that match. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Just saying, if we're giving out about attendances, you have to look at the bigger picture as well. But back to the match, I think Bray, as I said, they're not going to be afraid after scoring 2-11 against Blessington. But I just think Pats will possibly have a little bit too much for him.
I think this is a whole other ball of wax now. Like, I mean, I think they probably they manned up admirably against Blessington and got good scores, as you say. But I think this is. this is the big dance now, like, you know, and like Pats, yeah, as we said, they kind of huffed and puffed the first time, but they can do that. They huffed and puffed. They've got 2 points. They'll get into their stride. You know, lads getting up to match speed. I think I Pats down for this win fairly convincingly. I think, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, actually, just when you said that, John, we actually never got your predictions on the other 2 games in this group. So do you want to?
Well, I as I said at the start, like, I mean, you know, conceivably you could have top 3. It is top 3 playing bottom 3, and conceivably you could have top 3 on 4 and the bottom 3 on 0, and that's probably the 3 I'm going to go with. Like, I mean, I'm going to go with the form teams, as it were, this year and over the last couple of years. Avondale, the form team at the minute to beat Erogue, Pats to take Bray, and tell me who the third one was.
Blessington and Baltinglass.
Blessington and Baltinglass. I just think Blessington are going to pull that one out of the bag there and put Ballinakill to the sword and leave them in a really precarious position to get third place in that group.
Because they owe them one after putting them out of the championship last year.
Yeah, look at that. There's not much difference there. Avondale, Erogue. I think that's going to be tighter than people think. After the last day with Avondale, but I think Avondale will edge it just about. I'm going to go with Blessington as well, same as John, and I'm going to go with Pats in the last one.
I'm going to go Pats, Blessington, and I'm going to go with Erogue.
Pats, Blessington, okay.
Well, if I expected you to go different than one of them, I thought you were going to go for Baltinglass over Blessington. So that wraps up the senior football championship. We're just going to take a quick break before we move on to the intermediate and junior A also on this weekend.
We'll be chattering and nattering in the Garden County shed, but if a decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 860.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport. We'll be chattering and nattering in the Garden County shed, but if a decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 863.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport.
So now we're back and we're going to discuss the intermediate championship. We have a full selection of fixtures on Saturday and Sunday. We'll start with Group 1 on Saturday night, where Kilmacanogue are facing Ballymanus. Kilmac defeated Annacurra by 4 points in the first round, and the Billies lost to Kilkenny by 1 point after playing the majority game of 14 players. But this one, going on the form book, and I suppose the Ballymanus performance in the last day, this could be a cracker.
Yeah, look at Kilmac beat Annacurra the last day by 4 points. However, I think that the Ballymanus defeat by Kilkenny just by a point under, missed a penalty, man down. I think that might, on a farm book with me, it might give him an edge. I think Ballymanus, as we alluded to, they can't afford to lose a second one this early, really. And I think they're going to come out all guns blazing. They'll be missing Paddy Byrne, who was red carded, unless it has been appealed. I didn't hear, but I just think if the Burns, Rowan Lynch and these lads can click, that they can give Kilmac all they want of it there. Although Kilmac are they're dangerous, they're goal hungry, but I just think Ballymanus chips down, they have to perform.
Yeah, I suppose they've a big one coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. But Kilmac got 2 early goals against Annacurra. That sort of set the tone for them in that one.
It did, like, they started off great, or they went 1-5 to no score up after 12 or 13 minutes. Annacurra, they won all your league. They started so slow. They just kind of started and prove two soft goals, horrible, wet, greasy evening, ground hard, small defensive errors, and the ball went in 2 goals. But Annacurra kind of regrouped in the second half, and they got up and pressed, and they kept Kilmac only scored 3 points in the second half. So like there wasn't a whole lot in it.
I'd probably disagree with you there. Like, I mean, obviously,
of course you would.
First hand, look, I think Kilmac have a bit about them the last few years. Like, I mean, then we've witnessed that. Obviously, played them in a lot of league games and that. They have a nice shape to them, nice balance, very definitive kind of way of playing. Callahan's, as you say, Sully, you know, but there's a lot of names there, you know, and I think they're on a little bit of a roll. Like, they took about 25 years trying to win a junior A championship, but they're not a bad championship team at all, and you know they've got off to a good start. The Billies are still a couple of injuries there, and they're still trying to, you know, as always, the Billies just pull it out of the fire. They play out of a very small playing pool up there. Great manager in Kieran Welch. Their game against Kilkenny, as you say, so he probably will stand to a sense, but it seems like a long time ago. You know, the way they had it a week earlier than the other games, it seems like months ago that it actually was played.
Well, you're into week 3.
You're into week 3. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a bad thing for them. So I think Kilmac have the upper hand going into it.
These played last year in the quarter final, and it was Kilmac 3-14, Ballymanus 1-11. You know, the goals again killed them.
And at the time, Ballymanus were actually the real farm team in the championship. I think Ballymanus went unbeaten in the championship up until a Sunday last year, and they were out of the championship on the Friday night. Yeah. I think they got beaten in their last group game, ended up in a quarter final on score difference or something, and got beaten. And I think they were gone within a week after being top of the group and favourites. So, you know, like, that'll be in the back of their mind. It's just, I think, you know, if they're going to come good, like Mark Kenny, the two Burns, Ron Lynch, Paddy Byrne, you know.
Like Paddy Byrne, that he didn't play last year. Remember, he was hampered with injuries, and they had him on the line, and everyone was wondering, why isn't he on? Like, and they were put to the sword there, you know, but like, he wasn't right. Now, is he right now? Played him in a complete, you know.
I don't think the forwards are going to be the Billy's problem. I think it's the other end. You know, holding a couple of Callahans there, you know, up that other end, or Whippets, they're you know, they're all business. So it'll be the battle of the two defences, and I think Kilmac might come out on top of that battle.
Well, I'm going to go with the Billies on this one.
I'll go with the Billies on this one as well. Sheer fact that championship, they have to win. They have to give themselves a chance of staying in this group, and that's the day to do it. I just think it's all on the line for them.
So two there for Ballinakill and 1 for Kilmac. The next game in that group is Kilkenny against Ballinakill. Kilkenny, as you mentioned, they got the upper hand on the Billies by 1 point the last day. Ballinakill lost by 9 points to Lars, 16 points to 7. I think Ballinakill have the work cut out.
They have the work cut out. There's small whispers going around the Glen up there that I think Christopher Murphy is back. There was pictures of him anyway up on his Twitter the other day, and he kicking balls around the field up there. And so if I think he was away. Yeah.
Is he? Oh yeah, no. But is he playing football over there?
I'm not sure, John. No, I'm not. I can't give you. If I tell you he was, I'll be telling you lies. And I'm not hinting at telling lies into things, you know. I only bend the truth from time to time.
On air.
Yeah, on air. But like, if he's back, he's a big plus to him. Paddy Byrne as well was another lad that wasn't there the last day. They're two major players. Also on the Kilkenny end of things, Ben Jackman is back to play. He was suspended the last day. Whether he starts, I don't know. But he's a fair man to bring into a game. And like, I'd say that's the kind of game that might suit him, because there'll be nothing soft in it anyway. You know,
there'll be nothing soft in it. I just think Kilkenny will hold too many aces.
I think Ballinakill
are struggling even with Chris Murphy back. I think, you know, Paddy Byrne will probably be back from the last day as well, which will strengthen him. But I just think Kilkenny, their head is screwed on. They've aspirations of going, like, that win against Ballymanus, that's a big win. It's probably be quicker. The same as Ballymanus would have liked to have shook off the defeat quick. And you know, they've before done really well, and I just think hard handled.
Is it written in the stars for them back in the last time they won the championship? They won the league as well. I think we're going back to, I'm not really sure.
12 or 13.
Yeah, 12 or 13. And they won the league that year, and they won the championship, and they've already won the league. And are they going to win? So I
suppose if you look at that Kilkenny team, like, you've the household names that Kilkenny have relied on for so long. I suppose the Rosters and the Jackmans and the Cushes, and like the last day out, I think we picked out two younger lads that had great games that day in Pádraig Murray and Owen Dolan.
Yeah,
were the two sort of stand-up performers for them that day. And
like Pádraig scored 5 points from play there. You know, that takes a relief off a duckie's head. You know, because they're always relying on him to be the main talisman, like Don.
Those two boys have been coming the last couple of years.
They have, yeah. Sure, and to be fair, like they've used Dolan nearly everywhere, and I suppose they've used him as a gap filler, and that, no disrespect to himself, they've had him wing back, centre forward, wing forward, full forward. I think and they had him centre forward last day, and it suited him. He's starting to cement himself in there into the team, and I know you have to earn your stripes to where you're going to be credited with to hold down your position.
Yeah, I think the problem that Ballinakill are going to face is that, like, we've all watched Ballinakill over the last few years. A well-oiled Ballinakill running well, has 2-3 scoring forwards. They've Ger Byrne, they've Hanky, or they've one or two others there. Paddy Byrne has played a lot in midfield over the last few years, but he's obviously
he cut 2 or 3 scores. Yeah.
Like if Ballinakill have any hope, like, the last day I think it was Hanky was playing.
Missed a penalty as well.
Yeah, but was playing wing back. You know what I mean?
Hanky, no, he was full forward.
I get the names mixed up.
Yeah.
Sorry, but one of the lads I recognised, he was playing a wing back, and Ger Byrne was up front and he was playing alone. Up there, like, and the time knew well what the score was there. So look, those two boys are coming back. I have my doubts with Christopher Murphy if he's played football. Does he get thrown straight in? If he is, again, I don't know the history to it.
Well, I'm only going to be Chinese whispers here, like.
Yeah, well, Paddy Byrne starts every day of the week.
He is back.
He is back. Does he free up somebody with Ger Byrne up there, and maybe they can give something to think about?
I suppose, like, you were just mentioning, like, the trait that Ger Byrne offers, but James Murphy also offers a serious threat for Ballinakill, and he went off injured very early last night.
So. And they had to sacrifice Conor Parsons back into the centre back position, which we know Conor doesn't like being back there. Conor's an out and out forward. Like, even from the centre back, he scored 2 fabulous points from play. Get him further up the field, he'll probably get you 5, in total on his day. Maybe a couple of frees if he's on song with the frees. Like another 3 points on top of a lad's head up there is a great asset to you.
Especially early in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's keeping you ticking over, if you can stay in the game as long as you can. But I just think Kilkenny are going to have too much in that one.
Yeah, Kilkenny for Emmett.
I go Kilkenny as well.
I'm going to have to go with Kilkenny as well.
So a full house for Kilkenny here. The final game then in that group sees Lara, who are current toppers of the table, playing Annacurra in Auckram. It's in Auckram, isn't it?
Yeah,
Auckram. Lara 16 points against Ballinakill, and they scored 15 of those from play the last day. Yeah,
15 from play, and possibly could have had a goal as well. Mark Miley, their captain, is full forward, was through on goal after a massive monster run from Damien Hanlon when he broke it down in the defence and got up the field, and he just blasted it over the bar. They didn't need the goal. Miles Conway come on as well and missed the goal and tapped it over for a point as well. So there's 2 goal chances. Like, it could have been actually maybe 2-13 instead of 16 points or 2-14. I think Annacurra are up again here. They really are, because as I said, they were bad the last day. They didn't line out properly in my book. I said it here the last day. They're going to come out. There's no doubt about it. They're going to come out hit the ground running there as well. But Lara got to semi-final last year. Like Decky, once again, he'll have them buzzing. As far as they were in a very comfortable bracket. They knew their job, they knew their place, what they had to do. They done it eased, and nothing too fancy, but just done a comfortable, nice job at the end of the day.
Yeah, look, Lara seemed to be on the crest of the wave, Decky up there. Ever since the minute up there, he's pulling out rabbits out of the hat up there. In fairness to them, and when it was with Avondale, we played them a few times, and they're a good football team. They're a good solid yardstick. They're dangerous in front of goal. They've a lot of very good footballers on the field. I think I'm in a dangerous position here now at the minute, but I think Annacurra are struggling. I think the vibes probably from the first match weren't great. I think they'll have to get everyone back. I don't know if they will or they won't. I don't think John is going to name the team here tonight either. But I just think Annacurra need everyone going at full tilt in this one, and I don't know whether they will or not. You've like Frank and Gerard and a few lads have been out through injuries there. This and that. They're probably not at full tilt. And I think you just need everyone at full tilt of this, and I would be leaning slightly towards Lara. They're just well oiled, they're moving better at the minute, and I think it's just where the 2 teams are in it.
You've already amateur, like, you're losing your first 2 games, but you're in a terrible position. Yeah. And if Annacurra are looking ahead to the third game is against Ballymanus, and if they're looking past this clash,
Kilkenny.
Ballymanus,
and then Kilkenny.
So they're in serious trouble if they do.
Look, and that's the nature of the group. You know what I mean? Like, and no matter who you're playing, if you lose your first 2 games, it doesn't matter who's behind them. You're not in a good place anyway. You know what I mean? But I just look, the battle hardened. Annacurra were my tip to win the intermediate this year. I just think at the minute, I just think Lara are just edging them on farm, and you have to go with farm teams at the minute. I think most of what we're predicting here tonight are farm teams, and I think to go with that vein at the minute, Lara have that notch in farm.
Yeah, well, look, I can't go. I'm going to have to go on a corner here because I had to go in waving to Salty the last night, waving a white flag to go in after match there, And lucky enough when I went in, there was no one in it because they were all at home. So I'm definitely not going to go again now tonight. I'll have to go in there in body armour, I'd say.
So that's Group 1. Then we've won a piece there for Annacurra and Lara. Into the next group we have Kilcool and Donard in the intermediate. That's in where's that? Spaltinglass or Roundwood. Yeah, on Saturday. Kilcool played there against Stratford. They bet them by 5 points, 114 to 12 points with Matt Gilbert there on the last day. John, we'll come to you here on this one. Donard flying after winning the cup, their version of the league. I think they bet Kilcool in the final.
They bet Kilcool in the final. We won't say stole it, but it was a great match.
Yeah, like I mean, you mentioned Roundwood there, and this one could come down to small margins. Like I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot between them. They played in the league this year. Kilcool won that. They played in the league final, as you say. Donard won it by a point, and deserved to win it through just absolute, dogged resistance and would not lay down. And Kilcool probably left a few points behind them that they'll regret, but Donard won it at the end. There's very little between the two teams, and I think it could come down to small margins. Like I mean, I was looking at the betting for actually this and the next match we're going to talk about, and there's actually the draw actually on the between Pats and Donard, it could end up in a draw. Like, I
think the odds are the very same on either side of this one.
The bookie's not separating the two of them, or the Carnew and Dunleavin in the next game. Like I mean, this one is is Danny Kavanagh back to play?
Ronan Keddy on honeymoon.
Ronan Keddy on honeymoon. Donard, was what's his Brian Lennon seemed to be hurt the last day. So look, it's a really tough one to call. It's a mouth-watering one. It's Kilcool looking for a second win. Donard after such a close call against Carnew. Hard one to call. I'll go with the home club on it. I think Kilcool might just edge it out. But as I said, this is draw material written all over it. That's not based on any analysis of it. I thought the league final was a really good game. They were really well matched. They were well matched in the league. So it's a toss of a coin.
Yeah, look, I think John has just about touched on everything. I just, Donard will be wounded after. I'll wonder how they lost the Carnew match as well. As you said, there's been very little between them all year. I think the draw could be the bet here in this one. I think, who's down to ref it? Does anyone?
Brendan Furlong.
Brendan Furlong, yeah. Like this game, it'll be tight. It's Roundwood. I just think I can't honestly pick. I think
I'm going Donard.
I think if Ronan Keddy is away on his honeymoon or whatever, which he probably is, I think that could swing it. I just wonder if Kilcool have the numbers to replace someone like Ronan.
We said about that, and he didn't start the last day. He had a minor operation or whatever. Yeah. Like he's a fair man to come in.
Yeah,
he is.
But
who loses out if Ronan's not there? Like Gilbert come in there and like he got in there, and I think because Danny was out, like you can't drop him. Man of the match, like 7 points, four from play. Like he was pinging scores over for sport. Like. But
I'm not going to kick John while he's down twice. No. I didn't go for Annacurra, so I'm going to go for Kilcool by a narrow margin.
But that's all right. We're I was going to give him a dart there when he said I'm going to go.
I predict what you were going to say.
I'm going to go for the home club. Which home one is yours, John?
Wolf Town in Chicago.
Yeah. But going back to the Kilcool Stratford match, in the first half Stratford kicked 9 wides and they missed a goal midway through the first half, and they kicked 3 in the second half. They lost 3 players and the man sent off. They lost 3 lads through injury. So the fight, I said, that went down to the wire. They only pulled away in the last few minutes. So it wasn't a comfortable win by any means for Kilcool, but they still got it. Donard, on the other hand, they fought very hard. Were they unlucky? I think they probably were unlucky to lose.
Out from under
Yeah,
as well as
like
that,
with Carnew with the hurling again, Glenealy, last kick of the game, like a goal, you know, and like Donard had a chance to equalise it. If your man had went on another maybe 10 yards to get into a equal position, and with tired legs, like, you know, and so I'm going to go with Donard on this one.
So there we are. Now we've 2 for Kilcool, 1 for Donard in that one. The next game it's on Saturday as well. All these games are on Saturday in Division 2. This one is in Ballinakill. Carnew against Dunlavin, top of the table clash almost. Dunlavin bet Rathnew 118 to 1-4 the last day, and Carnew bet Donard by 1 point in Ballinakill, so they have sort of the advantage of playing on that field before this year. But
they had an advantage of his.
Yeah, small margins, as John Wayne says. But this one is sort of mentioned previously. It could have a draw written all over it, or odds are too close to call.
This one, including the senior, this could be the game of the weekend. Like, I mean, there are two teams that have flown through the Division 1A, high scoring, heavy scoring teams on either side of it. Their last league game was a bit of a dead rubber. Like, I mean, I know Carnew won it up there, but I would question that they won it as comfortably as the scoreline suggested. How Dunlavin approached the game. Look, this could be an absolute humdinger. Again, as we said, very close one to call, but all the prizes there for them both to take. Like, I mean, which is just to put the other one down. Like, first place is a valuable, hugely valuable prize in that group. These are probably the two that we're going to vie for. They're playing early enough and play in the round 2 of the league game, of the league phase. So I'll predict it in a minute, but I'll get Emmett's thoughts on it first.
Yeah, look, I think Carnew backed up by a wonderful win against Donard. Probably the wind was taken out of the sails in the hurling and other 2 different sports. A lot of the same lads playing them on Monday night. Not a big turnaround from Monday to Saturday evening. It'd be my worry with the same group of players. I think it's going to. We have a few injuries as well.
That's got to go against them over the course of this, doesn't it? So
Definitely,
if we go another 2 rounds in this football, there's lads in the likes of Carnew, and I know Glenealy of football. There's loads of dual players all over the county, but you're going to have lads in the likes of Carnew there in about 4 or 5 weeks' time that have probably played 7, 8, 9 games in 4 weeks.
I think someone said the other night, if Carnew kept winning, that they'd have at least 1 match a week until the middle of October, if they kept winning going forward. So that's after Glenealy beating them. They can't do away with a quarter final now, really, in the hurling. So that's why the dual club at the minute is so hard. And I just think it's a very short turnaround from Monday night. I think it might go against Carnew. Dunlavin will be fresh coming in. It's not like part of the great victory against Donard last night was the fact it was in Ballinakill as well. Very hard for a team from down this end to go up to Ballinakill and get a win against the West team up there. It's hard, but look.
So you're saying that's an advantage now, is it?
Well, look, down the years anyway, it just hasn't seemed to work for us. Anyway, I don't know about any other team from the south east going up there, but it's a very hard place to go. And like when you get a win in it, you really, you earn it, and it's a big plus. Like, but like I said, I hope the lads can recover in time. I hope they can get. I'm not going to vote against Carnew. I'm going to give them the nod. I hope that they can find, if anyone can get them back up, I think James Hickey will get them back up. But as you said, draw looks, very much up there.
I'm going to agree and disagree with you here on some things. I think it's going to stand to Carnew, right, the momentum. At the start of the year, Carnew invited Dunlavin down, right, in the league, in Division 1A, and it was 4 points to 6, Dunlavin won. Right, momentum got going then, and Carnew started, and they have been doing it all the way up along the way, and racking up good scores, good, like as we've been hitting them before, hurling scores that they haven't ever really been doing. Even Joe Murphy said to me, I can't ever remember Carnew scoring 340 in a football match. And they are doing it. So they went on again, and they went up to Dunlavin, right, and they scored 16 points. They bet Dunlavin to 9, so they improved by 10 points, whereas Dunlavin only improved by 5.
As John said, I'd question that match.
Oh, I know that.
I know,
but still.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. There's massive improvement there, like 117 against Donard.
Yeah.
I can never.
Yeah.
When any Carnew team I was ever involved with wouldn't score 117 in 3 matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but you were just holding out. You were trying, if you could score 1-8, you had a chance of winning because you were holding out defensively.
Carnew have a few lads to invite back on now. Like Dunlavin, they were full tilt the other night, bar Gary Allen, I think, weren't they?
No, they were missing a few. Daniel Dawson was missing as well.
Oh, Dawson.
They were missing a couple.
But I think Carnew, I'm going to go Carnew.
But the other way of looking at it, to scoring 117, you conceded 230, and you can't keep doing that either.
No.
So I don't want to be devil's advocate here.
And but you look at the 2 goals that Dunnar got, they were carbon copy. High ball in, over the full back's head, one out of his hands into the back of the net, the other was a tap in. 2 nearly the very same. And I think Mop pulled off an absolute...
He did in the first half.
Monster save as well.
Yeah, so...
But
look there, that's what games turn, and I just think, I'm going to say James Hickey will get them back up. I think Dunlavin are very dangerous. I think it could be between these two. This could decide the winner of the group going forward, and look, hopefully Carnew can do it anyway.
Yeah, again, we'll have to nail our colours to the mast in a few minutes, but Dunlavin looked at them a lot this year. They're really well managed, as are Carnew as well. I think he's doing a fabulous job down there. Dunlavin just have... we've probably questioned in some of the games we've talked about, we've questioned, does this team have the backs to look after these forwards, and does this team have the forwards to take it forward? Dunlavin have it all every way. They've got a young squad, a big squad. They've got backs that can mark tightly. Like we've talked up Ross Davis all year, and rightly so. They went and played Newtown in the league final.
They've a big panel there.
Yeah, they've a big panel, but they were able to solve that problem with Ross Davis on that evening. The big lads in midfield, if you want to play, if you want to play it hard. Carnew this year really impressed with their running game, right? And they probably opened up a few teams with their running game. They don't have the biggest midfield in the world. They don't have, but they've ran hard and running in the teams, and Dunlavin might have the stuff for that as well, just in the athleticism they have around the field. Tight one. I might just have it Dunlavin edging it early on in the league, and they'll meet again though.
Like looking at Dunlavin there a few times.
After picking Kilcool, he goes and picks Dunlavin.
I'm going to go.
You picked Lara though.
Carnew are my tip to win it, so I'm going to go Carnew. But just looking at Dunlavin a few times there now, I'm just going to be small bit critical here. Going to tell Jonathan Daniels how to do his job, and he can, and he knows better than anyone, because he's very well educated and he's great at doing what he's doing. I just like to see Owen Murtagh back centre back, and his brother Paul back midfield. I think you get far more out in centre back. I think he's just a little bit lost in the middle of the field. That's just watching them the last few times. I think the two of us kind of said have a bit, did we? But not. Look, that's only us being pundits and critics here. Like, it's easy to analyse and criticise at the end of the day. But I'm going to go Carnew.
So 2 for Carnew and 1 for Dunlavin there. We'll move on to the final game in this group is between Stratford and Rathnew. It's 5th place to 6th. Rathnew lost heavily to Dunlavin the last day. Stratford ran Kilcool close. We mentioned earlier that kicked a good few wides in that game. But I think the bookies have this one very close as well.
They do. Look at the bookies are holding their cards close to their chest, and rightly so. You never really saw a poor bookie, but Rathnew they scored 1-4 against Dunlavin, but honestly, we were at it, they put up a great show until about maybe 15 minutes out. They got very tired, they just hadn't got
up till half time.
Up till half time, and they could have had a few more scores. They started quick. They got a goal. They banged over 2 points from play there. They got going. They definitely have a keeper in the making there. Anyway, definitely. Whenever Dignam decides to retire, that they have a lad to fill the net there. But are they going to lose anyone off that team? We don't know. If they do, they're going to be under pressure.
They've lost Chris Healy now. They've lost. He's suspended. But they lost a couple, I think.
They lost a few the night before, yeah.
Will Stratford be suffering from a few suspensions, or were the 2 yellows? Or
he mounted straight red. He'll be missing the match, all right, yeah. He was put off for striking. But I don't know, definitely one of the lads that went off hurt, he looked fairly bad because they were looking for a stretcher and they had to sleek him to the sideline. And it looked like a bad ankle injury, But still, I'm going to go Stratford on this one.
Well, just on the Bear farm, looking in, the Stratford Kilcool farm would line up better. You'd never rule out Rathnew, as I said before. Just who they'll have, I suppose, is the big. It's almost like guessing in the intermediate hurling. You don't know. Yeah. You don't know fully who's going to be there or who's not. You know, do they use someone else? You know, or is there someone held over for the senior? You're not quite sure. And just on that note, like that's why I go with Stratford, because you know, if Harry wants someone for the match on the panel, like they won't have him in that one. So that's just purely why I'd side with. And like the Stratford farm with Kilcool would stand up stronger than Rathnews with Dunlavin in my book.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with it. And like, I mean, look, Stratford simply have to win this game. They just have to win it. And like, I mean, it's put a bit of pressure on them. Probably not the team you want to be going up against when you have the pressure on, because they're. Well, like,
they make life difficult.
They make life difficult for you, right? It's not a devil may care attitude, but they sometimes just, you know, they'll go out and take it as it is at that intermediate level, and you know, it'd be an awful place to be going trying to get your 2 points. But look, Stratford have to win it, and I think they probably will on Saturday.
Yeah.
No, that's the intermediate. So you're going Stratford as well.
I'm going Stratford.
3 Stratfords here. We're just going to run through, like, they've opened round of the fixtures on the junior A. We're going to run through it pretty quick because we're sort of tight for time, and there's no sort of form book to go on these in Championship. We know all about their league form, I suppose. Friday night we have Hollywood and Blessington in Group 1. We have Vallymount and Ockram on Sunday, and Lacking Kilbride versus Shayla Coolboy on Sunday. That's all in Group 1. In Group 2, Arrow play Barndarrig on Friday night in Rathnew. Pats play Balton Glass, and Ashford play on Toker on Saturday. Any fixtures jumping off?
Yeah, I suppose that the Group 1 fixtures you called out, you've got the form team, probably the form team for that championship, and they've been chomping at the bit the last few years, and this year's no exception, and that's Vallymount. You've got the absolute bolters and Shalala Coolboy, who have had the season to end all seasons up to now and won't want it to end now. Like, I mean, you know, they've won some great cups, they've had some fabulous evenings down in Ockram. Ashford don't ever want to see the side of them again, you know, but look, equally would love a coat off. So you've got, you know, so Vallymount, I think will win their game, get themselves off to, you know, beaten finalists last year. Shalala Coolboy again, I think they'll probably take their game. Hollywood Blessington, I think Hollywood, as we talked about in the senior, like, I mean, I think they're doing so well to be fielding at this level now, and it's, you know, Blessington probably, I'd imagine, as we said, we don't know a whole lot, but I'd imagine Blessington probably have the numbers on them in that game.
Yeah.
Look, I'd have to agree. I think, you know, like when we talked about Vallymount there, I think Ockram are struggling a bit at that level there. You know, they're trying to get lads out. So the same, you couldn't go against Shalala Coolboy, the farm they're in at the minute. They seem to be pulling up trees as well. That's pretty, as you said, Hollywood. Look, I'd say, you know, they've lost a few lads there to the senior as well, and they're probably struggling a little bit. Blessington, it's their second team. They always seem to have a big panel with the senior. They should have lots of lads out, lots of numbers.
Numbers wise, I just think.
I think they're the 3 standouts in that group, to be honest.
Well, look, we'll be able to talk more about him Monday night, because obviously they'll have played their games and we'll know a bit more about him, like, because they're curtain raisers for the junior A. We just don't know what anyone is really coming in with. But like, I saw a good few of these now with the junior A's going around. Hollywood, Blessington, there, like Hollywood have been tipping along there, just holding their own. Blessington, they're no bad outfit. I've saw them a few times now. I
think they took a big scalp in Division 3.
They have took a few, and like I went up to play Tinny Healy played them up here in the field, and I went to watch them again, Shalala Coolboy, and look at if they can hold on now, I'm sure like Kevin John Rogers was playing, but he's gone now through injury, and they had another fella as well. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was playing wing forward or centre forward, and I heard he was possibly going to be going on to the senior panel, and you could see that he was a senior footballer, you know, because he was playing good ball. But like they're not a bad outfit now. Like I'm going to go Blessington on that one. Barndarrig, Rogue.
That's we're Vallymount and
sorry.
Group 1 just for
Sorry, Vallymount are just going to be they are going to be that bit stronger. They're playing Division 2 football. Just barely missed out on promotion to Division 1A.
It's a tough one for Ockram, who are trying very hard down there just to pull things around and get themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to rebuild.
They are, and it's you know we myself and Zully know a lot of the Ockram lads, and on paper that Ockram team is starting to come together again.
Yeah,
this is probably just a bridge too far for them in the first game, but you know, there's plenty of room there. You know, you look at those other games there, and there's a lot of football to be played in that group. You know, between Blessington, Hollywood, Ockram, and Shalala Coolboy. You know,
well, I'm going to go to Shalala Coolboy. Like they've probably got the rub of the green there with getting the their first game again, Latin Kilbride. They're possibly going through a little bit of a bad patch up there. You know, like if they had got Vallymount in the first game, you know, it was a big call to see what happened there. But like they are, like it's the fairy tale still going on for them. I think they're going to run out convinced winners there on that one. Oh.
Yeah,
sorry for cutting the cost there.
That's twice you've done it tonight there, but I suppose looking at the players on the teams, like Patrick Phelan's probably one of the best full forwards in that grade in Junior A. He'd be very hard handled by any defence, and I think Ballymount Northcome's right. It's going to be a good game in that group. On to Group 2, Aerogue and Barndarrig play Friday night in Rathnew. Pats and Baltinglass on Friday. That's on Friday as well, and we have Ashford on Toker. Ashford on Toker probably the standout one in this group.
Definitely.
Ashford on. Sorry.
Barndarrig are playing Aerogue.
Aerogue, sorry,
Yeah, no, Ashford on Toker going on form over the last couple of years. Like you've Ashford, you know, as you said, they don't want to see Shillelagh Coolboy again for a while, but you know they could turn the tables as well. They haven't been beaten by a lot. And on Toker seem to be up there vying for favouritism with Vallymount the last few years for this, and someone kind of comes and knocks the two of them off their perch nearly every year. So you know that's a big match for the two of them going forward. You know, I couldn't tell on form who'd come out. I suppose the run to the league finals will have helped Ashford. Good competitive matches. As good
as going and getting practice matches again, bigger quality teams. They're after getting 3 helter-skelter games.
Without a doubt, I was being funny earlier on. It's a you couldn't send away for a better setup for it. And like I mean, Ashford, as you say, played some serious football over those 3 games. There wasn't the kick of the ball between them in a couple of games. In a couple of those games, we're talking Shillelagh Coolboy up there. Ashford will give on Toker plenty of it now, absolutely plenty of it.
It's like a local derby, you can nearly say. Like they're up and close against each other. They're like.
Yes, so we'll I suppose Barndarrig probably the favourites for the Euro game, and I suppose Pats and Baltinglass is hard to know with the two senior clubs.
Well, we're going to go with Barndarrig anyway. I'd say that Barndarrig they're playing Division 2 football as well. We'll definitely stand to them, you know. Aero Greystones, they had to give an odd walk over there during the year. They were under a bit of pressure. They were, you know.
Again, injuries on their senior
team. There was
team
injuries on
them,
but like I hate this at the start of the year. I can't understand why. They won the under 20s last year. They won the minors. They've lots of numbers. They have a junior C team as well. Like you can't. There shouldn't be any reason to be given walk over. They're not here to fulfill fixtures.
You know, winning under 20s is all very well, but you have to get them to the field.
Oh, I understand that.
If they're not, you know, if you can't get lads out, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, like I mean, I'd know Aerogue well down there. There's a huge churn of footballers in Aerogue, and always has been. Like I mean, since they've got back up to senior grade and we're going into the intermediate, and they're still founded on a bedrock there of Chester and Darren Hayden and those lads, and you know. A certain click up there that and I mean that in a good way. Like I mean, they're still so reliant on them and the older boys. You know, Philip Smullen and you know Hayden and all those lads. Like I mean, so you don't know. You could go down to play Aerogue one day and they could have you know a team and you won't recognise 3 of them. You know, and then as you say, where are they gone after that? And as you say, under 20 wins, but still, you know, we played them this year and. You're just wondering what's there. Like I mean, and you know, played a semi-final against Rathnew a couple of years ago. You know, so look, I think that their second team is going to all that aside. I think their second team is probably under pressure to feel that in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Barndarrig on that one.
Yeah, I'll do the same, and I just think with Pats and Baltinglass, it's. Might as well be honest. I haven't a clue. To be, you'd have to go watch the match to see what either one had.
Well, Pats won't be too bad.
They seem to be.
Baltinglass played Division 2 football this year, and like they weren't short on it.
No, they held their own. Like Henry's in it, and a few others there. That
Sean Doody is.
Yeah, like they have a few fine ballers.
Yeah, so that could be a big game. That could be a great game. You know,
but equally so have Pats. Like you know, like this 18-man panel that you name there at the start of the year. Like Pats didn't use a whole lot of them the last day. You know, like Eamon Wolf can play there. I don't think Jordan Pettigrew come on the last day for Pats, did he? You know, that's two. There's 2 big names that can play junior A football that have played senior championship. You know, this is the first one I'm calling today. I'm calling a draw.
Okay. Well, and just to find my last one, I'll go with Ashford in that big game in that group. The Ashford.
I'm going Ashford in that.
Yeah, I go Ashford in that as well. On just those matches, I'll have to stand to them. Barndarrig, and as I said, I can't call it a draw. I suppose if you can't call it, it's a draw in the last one.
Yeah, so that's our wrap up there for the weekend of fixtures. Just before we go, we'll just discuss something else coming up. Kelvin Breen from Red Cross was the winner of the bet from Winners Enclosure. So Kelvin, you have that. We'll be in contact with you after the show here. I suppose news sort of breaking around the county at the moment. We've heard rumours floating around that John Evans will be no longer Wicklow manager next year. There's rumours of him stepping down or whatever. Is it the time to go, lads, or it's hard to call, is it?
What are we saying? Is he going, or is he being?
The rumours are he's gone, but we're
only going on Chinese whispers, the same as anyone.
Well, fairly.
This is kind of like the breaking news on Sky. It's running along at the bottom of the screen here.
Yeah.
We have sources.
Yeah.
But, no, look, there's whispers going around about John. Is his time up? Is his time up? I suppose, depending on whether John is stepping down or depending on whether John is being pushed. If he's stepping down, he's obviously had enough, which is fair enough. If he's been asked to leave, you'd have to question, where do we go from here? What's next? What do we put in place now? Have we a plan? Or are we just going to throw a fish out to another bear from outside the county and reel him in and keep him here for 2 years and hope for the best? Or, my outlook would be like, where do we go from here if John is gone, if that's the truth?
Yeah, I suppose, look, it's 2 years of a 3-year term, right? So it's not an end of term, it's not a natural. It's 3-year terms for us now.
A review after 2, yeah.
Okay, but it's the 3-year terms that he got in 2017, so you review it every year. But look, I suppose if we can assume maybe that it's his own decision to go. If that is the case, is it time to go? I suppose you look at the stats, our league and championship form are not exactly standing up there.
We improved this year. Like with last year, we won one game, was it, or draw one game? Heavily defeated in London last year. This year we've picked up a couple of wins. We've talked about Offaly last year, but championship wise but we're talking about a low bar there. Look, I'm not at all parking it entirely at John. I think the raw materials for us, in as much as we enjoy our championship or as passionate about any county about our club game, the raw materials for us are probably not there at the minute. But has John improved it? I would argue no. In my opinion, I don't think we have improved substantially or sufficiently to warrant a third year. But and on the call of where do we go from here, I suppose this is always you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. We've had an outside manager, and there tends to then be a natural call. We have to go inside. We have to go and get somebody from the inside, and then you go inside, and we have to go outside because it was terrible. I just look again. We're not for totally predicting this or overstating, but just to answer Sully's question, go to where do we go from here. I think it needs a good think. I think there's candidates internally and there's candidates externally, and you just think about what you're doing from there. I wouldn't jump down the route of it has to be internal now. There's plenty of worthy candidates internally, but you can think big, you can go where you want. Cian O'Neill's running around there, no job. Does he want one? I don't know. But look, I suppose the selling point of John Evans at the time was he was experienced. He was I think the quote was that he was a man manager who would develop our younger players.
Yeah, and straight away, once you hear a Kerry voice coming in, you're thinking the Miko era again, and that's a fair halo to have over your head to be coming in to try fill. But has he improved us? I'll disagree with you a little bit, John. He did improve us this year at the start of the league campaign. We got to a good run. Now, but the players have to take responsibility somewhere.
I can remember we commentated on the Wexford game at the end. One of the things I was complimenting as we got towards the end of the league was there was a probably a definite shape to the team from 1 to 9, right? We could nearly name it, right? The only bolter on that probably towards the end was, Owen Murtagh got in ahead of O'Shane Manning. Right? But other than that, throughout the league it was solid. We knew what it was. After that there was Darrell Fitzgerald was fairly clear on where he was, but what was happening up front, I was never quite sure. So
I don't think they were either.
But okay, so but like to give it, what was I complimenting at the time, so that I don't want to seem to contradict. Yeah, I was complimenting the fact that we were solid from 1 to 9, but what we had at offer, we probably had our best 1 to 9 out, and they were playing okay, and they were putting it up to teams, but I don't think we ever worked it out after that.
Well, we got the first 3 games. We went to Waterford, we got a win. Then we had a win in Ockram. Then we lost to Leitrim. Right. Then we went up to Derry. Like everything, like it was trundling along grand. Like we were even whistling like, God, we might even get promotion, because then we 3 games at home. Then after the Derry game, so on we went up to the Derry game, and the wheels completely fell off the wagon. And I'd like to know what happened from the Waterford game to the Derry game.
The Leitrim game happened. The Leitrim game happened.
Yeah, but like
I mean, the Leitrim game you're talking
should have
about
been won.
Should have been won, right?
Yeah.
And
And like, I
3
mean,
from 3 after that if you went ahead and won that game.
And that okay. Like I mean, I still without name, we missed a free from 21 yards out in front of the goal, and within 30 seconds they gone up and scored a goal.
Yes.
That free put us a point up, I think, and they won it by 2.
Yeah.
You know, so you have a 4-point swing, and them's the margins at that thing. And I think that maybe was a turning point.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think we played Leitrim second and then bet Limerick in the third game, because I remember we came out going, last week we lost in the same position. This week we drove on after, we played against them in the second half against Limerick and Ockram, and I think that was the third game, I think. But we went up to Derry then with a bit more confidence after that game, thinking, here, we can do something here. We can actually pull a result out of that.
Like we were going up against a strong side. Like they'd all
Really, it's up and Derry. Like
they'd all the Schlocknealers back there, and they're a fair unit. Like
They're in a Division 1 final.
Oh, yeah.
Previous to that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there
But, like,
were
going
no
back-
back number to be down there where they were.
But going back to what do we need to do? Like I say, we're just analysing it here. Like we're always getting ready for a Leinster Championship. In my book, like it has been said at meetings and all, the county board meetings, and everyone that sits on the floor and they iron out whatever they want to say. Our championship is the league. We have to get to Division 3 or try to get to Division 2 to compete at any level whatsoever. And that's it. So our championship starts in February or the end of January, whenever the first league match is. And that's where you have to get going. And then if you get promoted, then you're onto your championship and see how you progress from there. That's my honest opinion on the whole thing.
It's a natural progression. Like, and I think I know there's a lot asked to these players and everything else, but I think we should possibly be looking at whoever comes in, setting up your training with gearing towards being on top of the ground in February. I know that's not an easy thing to do. I know it's not, but as you said, getting to Division 3 has to be our goal. I mean, we're not going to win Leinster. We can see here, we haven't won one yet. Dublin are rampant. We're not going to pull off a Leinster win in the next few years.
Look
you
at
can
Laois.
say if you do, you do.
Yeah,
but I just think getting to Division 3 and trying to stay in it has to be your goal.
Yep.
You look at Clare, you look at these teams, they're all around. We should be beating these teams. If we have any head of progression on us, we should be beating these teams. But we're not, and we're continually not. So there's a reason for that. But I think as well, we've no continuation. We had an under 17 team there. Kevin O'Brien was over. Probably, I'd say if the job could be Kevin's if he wanted it. I don't know. Maybe it's too early. But I'd like to know what's the plan for the under 17 team. Where do we bring in 3 years' time? Where is this team going to be? Are they going to be looked after? Are they going to be kept together? Will they be as good in an under 20 championship? That's where the progression is. If we keep top ending in this county, it's the same as clubs top ending. There has to be a conveyor belt coming behind you. And I think even in the Miko era, that's where we got it wrong. It was brilliant. That one summer was great. We had 3 great days in Ockram. We Yahooed. It was wonderful. But whatever Miko took out of the county should have been put in, or he should have been got in a under 14 or under 16 level. And I think it's all very well to turn around in the county and say, sure, they gave it to a lad and they're doing it. We have to set up a conveyor belt.
You're dead right.
And that's what has to come forward. We can't just keep hoping for clubs to pop up with a lad here and a lad there and God, he's a right chap, and it's not good enough. And I'm just wondering that's why I said, what's the plan? If John Evans is gone, if he went himself, if he was pushed, whatever, maybe he's not gone. We don't know. But if he is gone, what's the plan? Are we going to sit back in a chair and say, "Oh, Jesus, sure, get him Keane O'Neill there. That'll keep everyone quiet. That'll be grand. Give him 2 years there."
Well, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
not saying him.
I'm not saying him, but I'm just using his name. I'm throwing out there. If it's whoever it is from England, if it's John Hines or
Well, I think
whoever
you're right.
they don't. But like, I'm not saying sit back in a chair and just give it to someone to keep everyone quiet. I think there has to be a natural progression.
Yeah, and probably for the first time in a long time, you mentioned the 117 team, and we had a lot of hope for the minor team this year as well. There is starting to be a semblance of a conveyor belt. That didn't happen by accident. Like, I mean, Ballinakill it has its faults, but there's stuff happening up there. There's some great people up there. Philip McGillicuddy, is up there, and numerous other people that have toiled in this county for years, and they're doing good work up there. So there's starting to be some sign of a conveyor belt, and you're right, we've got to tap into that now and just keep them coming and keep them coming and keep them coming. And I don't necessarily, not for 1 second do I think I just throwing out names. If you're going out who is available where you don't know where it is, but no, I would for sure, I would say look inward again, and not just because it didn't work last year, but I think there's some very worthy and capable people in the county. I think Sully's right in what he's saying. This pipe dream of a championship in the summer. For all of the 2009s that we've had so many 2019s. So holding out for your game, whoever you draw in February to play them in June is just it's ridiculous to hang it on that and a qualifier. Look, the tier 2 thing might do something for us, but yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more with the league thing. Like we've sat in Division 4 for so long. We've got to just have a crack at this Division 3. Go for it and go up. Lose all your games if you do, but just Jesus Christ, go up and have a cut off it.
I think we went up in 2011. I think it was, and we went up. We played Monaghan in Clonus. We gave them a good game. I think it was. I don't know if we drew or we lost narrowly. Like, look at the progression Monaghan have made now from Division 3, and we're in free fall.
Yeah.
And I think, and no disrespect to outside managers, I think this, and it's one thing that irked me a bit with the Johnny McGee era, and even John Evans, they have this thing that actually you're always in Division 4 anyway. We weren't. Yeah. I remember Wicklow beating Cork in Ockram, and Cork weren't in Division 4 at the time. I remember Kevin O'Brien kicking a point from 60 yards to win the match.
Massive score.
I'll never forget. It was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And all that, but like Cork weren't in Division 4 at that time. But some of these lads have this tendency to say, sure, you'll be grand there, sure, you're used to it. And that's not the attitude you want coming in either. Like, you want someone to come in fresh and to build a bit of momentum and just to get you out of the basement for a year.
Well, I agree with you, absolutely. And if John is gone, as we don't know, but I think these academies are working. I think we need to go in-house, because no disrespect to anyone else coming in. All the work could be undone in a year with these young lads that are coming off the minors in the 20s and everything, and they need to be nourished and brought up, because they are being built to this platform at the end of the day. So you have the Gerrigans, you've other lads around the county that are, you've McGillicuddy, that are doing the work up there, and there is lads there, like Garrett Doyle and all the with him there as well, you've Aaron Hayden, all the GDA lads, Paddy Dalton, so there is lads, I think, that know these lads inside out, that need to be with them, and give them a crack at it. That's my, because we went out the last 2 years, we've been outside the globe, as a lad would say, and I think we need to go inside with them now. And what have you to lose?
Very little, because we've nothing to lose, because we have nothing.
Yes.
We just have a text in from someone listening in there. Some would say you could use the hurlers as an example of ambition and going up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, but I think, and on that now, and everyone knows I'd swing a little bit more towards the hurling myself, but they don't get the recognition. I mean, the hurlers, how many leagues, they've been to Christie Ring finals, how many leagues have they won in the last few years? You know what I mean? They're going up, they have the ambition, and they're always kind of overlooked for it, But to have that core of lads there that they're hurling against one another week in, week out down here, but when they go and pull on the jersey, it's different. And Eamon Scallon was an outsider. He came in, he won that league.
Yeah, but
you're talking about a league, when you looked at it on paper, how did you win it?
Yeah.
But the players got behind it and they won it.
In saying that, Scallon, he managed Greystones last year, so he was in the county. I suppose he knows the players from playing with or playing against and playing with them. If we look at our football manager currently, as we said, at the moment he's still the manager. He's managing a club team in Tipperary while the club championships are going on in Wicklow, which I personally believe is not good enough.
No, but like going back to the hurlers there, they don't get enough recognition for what to do. They went up to Derry last year, they won, they got promoted, right? There was a handful up there. Now, we haven't got to go to all the games, but we've been at a good few of them. There's a few loyal supporters that go day in, day out. Like, we had to go and cancel a whole round of fixtures of a Sunday because Wexford were in a Leinster final, so people could go watch it. But they wouldn't go watch Derry, or go watch Wicklow against Derry, you know.
And that's a bugbear of mine as well. I know busloads of kids went to that Leinster final, and it's great to bring them to it and everything else, but they didn't go to that final in Derry.
Yes.
They weren't brought to that match for their own county. Do you know what I mean?
With their own club people playing, I suppose.
And that's a bit of a bugbear with me as well. You know what I mean? Like if you were playing that match, like how many people were at the down match down in Auckram? You know, and which if they'd have won, they'd have got through in the Christie Ring or whatever. It didn't happen. But like this team has went to the North 4 times this year, 5 times maybe this year, and won in it.
They bet Derry 3 times up there.
They bet Derry 3 times up there, and that's a serious achievement. That's a serious achievement. Like, and you know, I know we've moved off what we were talking about there a little bit, but like I think it has to be mentioned as well that you know they could take something from it. I know they're kind of looked on as second class citizens in the county, but like if you go back down the years, the hurlers have had a lot more good days than the footballers in the last 15 or 20 years.
I'll agree with you. You're bang on.
Does it bring up the question? Like, I mean, it's a point very well made, and you know, does it bring up the question of, you know, there's a Christie Ring there for the hurlers? Does it?
Tier 2.
You know, is that now
it
what
is.
it's called?
Yeah,
called
well,
out
definitely as well.
us-
You know, that's a big thing as well. Like you have to
But
take that into consideration.
that's for the hierarchy up there in Pub Park and all that sort of one.
Yeah, so look, we're going to have to leave. We're sort of running out of time there. So look, thanks very much, lads, for joining us. Thanks for staying a little bit longer to discuss that with us. Just to echo on the points there, lads, if you can get out and support your clubs, support your county, that's the way to go. We'll be back to you on Monday. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll be back and we'll have live updates of most of the games, probably nearly all the games.
We have all the games covered,
over the weekend. So tune in then. Thank you.
Ring and that ring in the Garden County shed. But if a decent match comes up, then we'll do that instead.
Winners Enclosure Bookmakers, your local independent bookmaker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and Instagram for all our daily specials and enhanced odds. Phone us on 1890 429 863.
Murphy's Liquidation Furniture and Garden County Sport.